Well, happy August 18th to you. Hope things are well for you and with you. Just continuing in our study of the Beatitudes, where we've seen Jesus really lay out the character traits that he's looking for. You know, some call these Beatitudes the constitution of the Christian life, kind of the rules and standards, that kind of are the primary focus in terms of what Jesus desires from his people, and really preparing us for what we'll face in this life. We've been dealing with the Blessed are the Peacemakers, but just to read through them, to remind us of all these standards. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. And so we've been dealing with this peacemaker for a couple of days here on these daily videos. Also, we've been in Romans 12, where Paul says, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. So it's kind of been challenging to figure out, what do I say in the daily videos, what do I say in Sunday morning, and what do I say both. And so hopefully you've seen Sunday's message, or if you haven't, you go through the message last week and this week in terms of what I mentioned there in terms of peace. But in terms of just wrapping it up today, I just want to remind you that peacemaking, again, it's going to be hard work in terms of what we have in our lives. Some people it'll be easy. Again, some people love covering multitude of sins, will be the majority of our interaction, maybe the totality of our interaction. That maybe I mention things or don't even mention things, as far as things that I just kind of overlook and let love cover. But we shouldn't be surprised if we're tweaked, if we're upset, if again an offense comes, or we make an offense that we recognize and we go to that person. But again, it should just be this kind of this free-flowing thing that's going on. But we have to, just remember that peacemaking is not inconsistent with conflict. Peacemaking is not inconsistent with dealing with things that are difficult and challenging, and also dealing with challenging people. As I said on Sunday, I think most people are good-natured. What I mean by that, certainly we're all sinful. We all have a sin nature. So, at the core of us is this selfish, prideful, lustful, greedy nature that is driving that desire, trying to push us and to a certain direction in terms of a kind of person, kind of attitudes, kind of thoughts, kind of speech and behavior we would have. And so, we all fall into that. We all are tempted and give in to those desires. But I think in terms of just the relationships we have, the majority of the relations we have, we are probably looking for good in other people's lives. I'm hoping that's not a presumption of mine. Hopefully I'm not just, sharing what my perspective is, in terms of dealing with people. But I think that, and it is very tempting to think that just because you think it, you think other people think it too. But sometimes we're going to come across people that aren't that way, and those are going to be the difficult people. Those are going to be the people that just are really hell bent on disagreement, or on just putting you down, or not allowing peace to happen. And we don't become punching bags. We don't become doormats. We don't. We give up our toque, our toque, our toque, or our outer garment, whatever I was trying to say. Tunic, that's the word I was looking for. Old age is tough, right? Even though I'm not old, I know that. But anyways, and we turn the other cheek, yes, but in terms of not, sometimes the peacemaking that we have with people is just peace that's in our heart. That, okay, you're opposed to me, you're kind of committed to be my enemy, I've tried the path of reconciliation, I've tried to work peacemaking into the situation, but you just continue to, push that aside and not engage. That's where, even when you look at that Matthew 18 passage that we went through on Sunday, it does end up with, if they reject the counsel of the church, that as their offenses brought to the body of Christ at local assembly, and they reject that counsel, it says treat them like a tax collector. And I think what Jesus is meaning there is treating, not being the friend of the tax collectors Jesus was, but separating yourself from them. And so realizing that at some point when people, again, they reject the word of God, they reject the counsel of God's people, they're unrepentant in terms of their lives, it's okay to separate ourselves from people. Like, okay, you're always negative towards me. Okay, well, I'm not gonna continue to expose myself to that. And I think that's part of peacemaking. But still, we still have peace in our hearts. And so therefore we still have peace towards them, that we're not wishing them harm. We're praying for them even. We're to our enemies, as we saw in Romans 12. If they're hungry, we're feeding them. If they're thirsty, we're giving them something to drink. We're continuing to put out the branch of reconciliation. But if that just continues to be pushed aside, again, there is a place to separate ourselves from people, not casting our pearls before swine, if you will. The other thing I would just mention too, when it comes to, again, just those really hard cases that we might find, like the rare times where, I try to make peace, as far as it depends on me, as if it's possible, I'm living at peace with everyone, and someone just doesn't want that. For those rare instances, it's okay for there to be a distance that's established. But this is the point I was trying to make. Just let that be about Christ. Let that be about righteousness. Let that be about truth. Let it be about the substance of godliness, the substance of the Word. I would even say the primary issues of the Word, God's character, God's reality, the gospel, Christ, not even some of the secondary things that the church might disagree about. And certainly not when it comes to, again, political opinion or differences on, whatever might differ, work and, opinions on strategy or whatever. Don't find that place to agree to disagree. Sometimes that's a great place of peacemaking. That, something, there are people that, I can have conversations about 90% of the topics we could have conversations about. But let's just not go to this one. Or if we have it, let's just understand that we just disagree on this. And that should be okay. In terms of the rights that people have to opinion, just the grace that I bestow upon them, the fact that, do we really know that we're right? Do we really know absolutely that this is the truth? And when it comes to a lot of things that we might think or want or desire or whatever, is it really, do I really have to get my way? Do I really have to be right? Am I sure that I am right? And so again, that peacemaking, a lot of patience, a lot of dying to self, a lot of love, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of understanding, and just let's be agents of that peace. But you see the result of this here. Blessed are the peacemakers, as we're doing that work, as we're fostering that. As don't forget letting God, bring His peace in us. And again, it's God's will, God's provision, God's plan, God's direction, God's discernment. I wouldn't want us to think that peacemaking means being quiet. Don't ever say anything. And again, that's more peacekeeping than peacemaking. We are to share the love and truth. Truth and love, rather. That we are to share the gospel. Again, to follow this peacemaking with blessed are those who are persecuted. Well, what are we going to be persecuted for? If we're persecuted for righteousness' sake, well, then therefore we're living a life that's almost bringing this conflict, it's bringing this attack, it's bringing this persecution. Well, how do you mix that with blessed are the peacemakers? Well, that's part of the challenge. That's that discernment. That's the, again, what am I being persecuted for? Well, what am I truly disagreeing with people about? And allowing it to be the primary issues rather than the secondary issues. But to recognize that these peacemakers will be sons of God. Now, it is interesting, when we think about, that statement, being sons of God. there weren't a lot of descriptive words, that people would use, in terms of just how they would describe someone, or even an identifying mark. Maybe there's even a better way to look at it. Who are you? How are you different from other people? Well, I'm son of this person. I'm the son of this person from this place. And that's how they would identify. Like maybe the variety of names that they had. You take your father's name and his father's name, and okay, well, who are you? You're the son of this and son of that, and so therefore, naturally, this doesn't make us divine. This doesn't make us like Jesus. But what it does mean is that what we're identified by, the name that marks us, the person that marks us, the relationship that defines us, that we're sons of God. That again, when we're peacemaking, when we make peacemaking kind of the tenor and tone of our life, that we care about human relationships, we're loving people the way God calls us to love. When we get further on into Romans, we'll see, owe no one anything except for the debt of love. And I like that, because what it means is that other things can be paid back. When we should be paying our debts. We should be giving back people what they deserve in terms of those things. But you'll never really get to that point where you pay enough love. That's a continual thing. And when we have that heartbeat, when we're that kind of person, when we're promoting peace in the situation we're in people's lives, even in our own heart, again, we'll be a son of God. That the thing that will mark us, the thing that will identify us, the thing that will distinguish us from other people. Again, who are you the son of? I'm an Atkin, so that means a lot of different things in terms of what the Atkin family represents. I did a memorial service for my sister, a few months back. Just sadly, she had passed, which many of you are aware. And, I did a eulogy for her, and what I decided is to define, here are the things that make someone an Atkin. And, and I think we have that in terms of, again, what was your family like? Who are you because of the family that you're associated with? Well, just imagine a son of God, that you bear the marks of that family, of that father, of that patriarch. And again, when you're a peacemaker, that's where you'd be a son of God. As we said away at the beginning of this, the Zealots actually considered themselves sons of God, because again, they were pressing the rights of the Jews and defeating and overcoming. And Jesus saying here, no, it's when you're a peacemaker. It's when you're a peacemaker, when there's all this warring and vengeful stuff inside you, and you submit yourself not to that. You don't follow that train of thought or that direction, but you follow the way of peace, and you're making peace. You're pressing peace into situations. You're pressing peace into relationships. You'll be called the Son of God, and that's what people will associate with you with. And maybe to that extent, what that means is how rare this will be. When you think about the nature of conflict, the nature of disagreement, you think about the place we are in terms of racial conflict and political conflict and all these different things, where it's like, people killing people. Just for whatever, I'm upset with you. You cut me off. You're black. You're white. You're what? How rare is it going to be those people that are peacemakers, and so that rare thing to be considered. Yeah, Son of God. There's something divine about you. Who was your father that you're that kind of person? Yep, that's that's what awaits us in terms of being a peacemaker. That we will be called. It says called, right? You'll be called sons of God. Certainly God will call us that, but maybe other people might call you a son of God, as you again become a gentle, kind, meek, peacemaking person. But we have to remember this, that what awaits us is this last one. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness. In the presence of being persecuted for righteousness, being a peacemaker, being poor in spirit, being meek. So we'll unpack that on Thursday. God bless you in your day.